Welcome back.
To Marriage Beyond the Veil. Well, today has been a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, a historic day
Okay.
where a president made a decision that, for the best interest of the country, he was not going to rerun for president.
Suspend his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And in a love relationship, in a marriage, there are times, and it immediately made me think back to couples that I have known over the years, and as they begin to age or as they begin to go through some things, they had to make decisions to step back and allow the other spouse to take over major parts of maybe their company or running their household things or taking care of the children, or even in some cases somebody had to leave for a minute and then come back into the relationship once they were physically, mentally ready to do what it takes to be in a relationship. That's love.
Yeah. In a love relationship, um, ultimately, you should be working towards what's going to be in the best interest, not for you individually, but for you collectively.
Yes.
What's going to be in the best interest for your marriage, your family, and making the decision for who may need to step back and allow someone else to step forward. Because again, at the end of the day, it is not about who, quote unquote, heads the ticket,
Right.
but who can really advance the platform for your marriage. And so, with that, understanding that ego has to be put aside, selfishness
Yes.
has to be put aside, and ultimately make the sacrifice for the best interest of the health and the welfare of your relationship.
Case in point is, for instance, a couple that both of you are professionals and both of you are very good at your jobs, and then the children come into play. Well, it's really challenging if both of you are up here in your careers and both striving to be up here in your careers and both out of the house and running and doing to raise children with love and with intention. Someone ultimately will have to step back
Right.
and say, you know what, I'll take over this. And we've known couples and we were couples that have done that.
Traditionally, when you're talking about in a situation like that, traditionally it's been the male, to be the provider, to work outside the home. But now, modern day, we realize that okay, you have stay-home dads, right? You have situations where, and whatever makes sense,
Exactly.
who has the ability to really be the point person, if you will, to ensure that your family is well cared for, is solid. Who, in some situations, because traditionally it was like up to the women to raise the children, right? But there are scores of women who have absolutely positively no ability to nurture,
Right.
right? And you may be in a situation where it's the husband who is truly the nurturer. Who do you really need at the helm
Right.
of laying a foundation of love and nurture and care for your family? It's the one that has that skill
That
set.
skill set, exactly.
The one that have the gifts and graces to do so.
Yes.
And so, but in a marriage and in a love relationship, there will come times where, for any myriad of reasons and opportunities, where you have to come together and say what's going to be in the best interest for our marriage, for our family, and then allow whom needs to step forward, whom needs to step back, again, so that you can achieve what your agenda is for your family, for your relationship, and it's all done in love.
Right. So encourage and support, as I always say, the decisions that your spouse makes, when they're in the best interest of your family. We have to fight for what's right. in our marriages and our relationships, on our jobs, and for countries. So for that, I say thank you.
Well, when you look at the situation with this presidential election, you talk about a tremendous sacrifice of self-ambition, right? Ego, all of that. But at the end of the day, it was a selfless act.
Selfless.
And love should always be selfless.
Yes.
Until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Have a good evening.